Hey, Stoker. I'm talking to you. Or do you go by Stroker now? Because I hear that's what your mom's been doing.
What did you say?
I think you better watch your step, Stroker.
Say that again?
The film begins with India Stoker walking along an empty road, looking at white and red flowers in a field on the other side. She's wearing high stiletto heels and has stopped her car in the middle of the road. A police car is parked behind hers, but the officer is not present at the scene. India is a unique girl with heightened senses. According to her, she can see further than most people and hear sounds from great distances, making her more observant and aware than anyone else she knows. She is a teenager on the threshold of adulthood, constantly discovering new things about herself. The scene cuts to India running through her backyard. Her family is wealthy and owns a large plot of land around their house, meaning India's backyard is a vast, lush field filled with dense foliage. She feels something on her foot and sits down to investigate. She takes off her girl's Oxford shoes and discovers a bulging blister on her big toe. Using a pine needle she finds nearby in the grass, she pops the blister and calmly squeezes out the pus without even flinching. She wanders among the large round rocks in her garden, searching for a hidden birthday gift from her father. Finally, she climbs a tree and finds the gift perched on one of the branches. Inside her elegant living room, preparations are underway for India's 18th birthday. A beautiful cake with 18 candles is carefully covered by a maid. It appears the family has received a phone call about an accident, and India's birthday celebration is suspended. India's mother, Evelyn Stoker, tries to contain her sobs while dressed in mourning clothes. India, sitting quietly by her side, does not cry but appears withdrawn and contemplative as she watches her father's casket while the priest delivers a eulogy. We now learn that India's father, Richard Stoker, died in a car accident on the very day of India's 18th birthday. Richard Stoker was taken from them by a cruel twist of fate, the reasons for which are unknown and unknowable, in an accident no one could have predicted. It is a tragic loss for a family that seemed to personify perfection and grace. From a distance, India notices the silhouette of a mysterious man watching the funeral proceedings. No one else seems to notice him. After the funeral, India is back home, practicing the piano on a stool. Evelyn asks her to help the maid in the kitchen, as guests will be arriving soon. Aware of India's usual stubbornness, she begs her not to misbehave on the day of her father's funeral. In the kitchen, the maids whisper about Richard's accident, sharing gruesome details. India, with her heightened hearing, catches every word and begins to feel tense. At that moment, the head maid, Mrs. McGarrick, enters, and the younger maids fall silent and disperse. Meanwhile, guests begin to arrive to pay their respects. Among them, a man's voice stands out to India. She doesn't know why, but she follows it, and when she sees him, it is the same man who was watching the funeral from afar. Evelyn greets the man with her usual serene pragmatism. When she sees India, she invites her over and introduces the man as Uncle Charlie. Until now, India had no idea she even had an uncle. She remains motionless, arms crossed, staring at him in silence. Evelyn feels embarrassed by India's cold behavior, which contrasts sharply with her own elegant demeanor. India hears, thanks to her sharp hearing, that Evelyn herself did not know Charlie existed. Evelyn tells Charlie that Richard had told her he was dead. India has a bad feeling about Charlie and feels curious. Later, they speak face-to-face on the stairs. Charlie expresses his condolences, and India responds that it is his loss as well. Charlie asks for permission to stay in the house for a while, but India is skeptical. The next day, India is in the garden when she sees Mrs. McGarrick and Charlie arguing in the kitchen. Mrs. McGarrick insists she has done everything he asked and says she is tired of helping him. The mystery deepens, and India wonders about this secret pact between the two. Later, Evelyn wakes up disheveled, puts on a robe, and looks for Mrs. McGarrick, but she is nowhere to be found. Evelyn and India have a tense conversation. Evelyn suggests they go out with Charlie for the day, which only upsets India more because her mother doesn't seem to be mourning Richard. India refuses, so Evelyn and Charlie leave together in Richard's convertible. India immediately notices that her mother is being excessively friendly with Charlie. At dinner, Charlie prepares a decadent meal with rare red meat and refined side dishes, claiming he learned to cook in France under a Michelin-starred chef. The dinner is filled with uncomfortable tension. India finally asks Evelyn why she never told her about Charlie. Evelyn explains that she barely knew him, as he was always traveling through Europe. Annoyed, Evelyn leaves with her wine. In her absence, there is a thick silence between Charlie and India. India inspects the wine bottle label with curiosity. Now that she is 18, she can legally drink, although she has never done so. Charlie offers her his glass, and India takes her first sips of wine, symbolizing the beginning of a new and dangerous bond. Charlie begins picking India up from school in Richard's convertible, but she refuses every time, choosing instead to take the bus or walk home. Charlie wants to strike up a friendship with her, but India rejects all his advances. One day, Aunt Jin shows up uninvited. Evelyn is surprised and upset, as the two never got along. Although it seems casual, Jin is there because she heard Charlie is staying at the house. At dinner, they engage in small talk, but when Charlie leaves the room, Jin tries to speak privately with Evelyn about his presence. Evelyn becomes defensive when Jin suggests talking about the fact that she is living there with Charlie in that manner. Thinking Jin is accusing her of having an affair, Charlie returns, cutting off the conversation. When Evelyn says that Charlie took time off from his travels in Europe to be here, Jin is stunned, knowing it is a lie. She is not invited to stay the night and takes a taxi to a hotel. Fearing that Charlie knows her intentions, Jin gives her number to India and asks her to call. India accepts because she likes Jin. At the hotel, Jin is disgusted by the conditions but doesn't want Charlie to find her. After misplacing her phone, she calls from the hotel lobby to locate it. Suddenly, she sees Charlie's silhouette in the distance. He claims to be worried and says he called the taxi company to find her. He returns her phone, which he had taken to block communication with India. As Jin begins to panic, Charlie enters the phone booth and strangles her with Richard's belt. While Charlie is on his murderous errand, India goes to the basement for ice cream and finds Mrs. McGarrick's frozen body in the freezer. Now, Charlie's dark motives are clear. India is not afraid, but she knows she must protect her mother. Realizing the truth about Charlie awakens something dark in India, an internal rage and a taste for violence. At school, when a bully threatens her, she stabs him with a pencil, drawing blood. Before the situation escalates, a student named Whip Taylor intervenes. He tries to be kind to India, but she walks away. At home, she sharpens the bloody pencil and relives the moment she stabbed the bully. When she opens her pencil case, she imagines it is the freezer, seeing Mrs. McGarrick again. This time, she isn't afraid. She feels curious, even amused. Charlie senses that India shares the same dark traits buried in their family lineage and wants to awaken them. One night, India wakes up from a nap and hears romantic music coming from the dining room. She stands behind a door and watches Charlie and Evelyn dance. When Charlie notices India, she is startled, but he says nothing. The dance continues, turning into a passionate kiss. India is no longer in the house. She watches through a gap in the curtains from the outside. Charlie, seeing her watching, puts on more of a show, trying to stir something dangerous in her. Charlie begins to touch Evelyn's breasts and starts unbuttoning her robe. India is extremely shocked and startled. Through the gap in the curtains, Charlie sees her take off her sweater and run away from the house. All of Charlie's manipulations are working. India appears at the diner where her schoolmates usually hang out at night. She sees Whip Taylor about to leave on his motorcycle and stops him to talk. Instead of going into the diner, India takes Whip to an abandoned playground in the nearby woods. Eventually, they begin to kiss, and Whip believes he finally has the chance to take India's virginity. Overcome by a frenzy of sexual tension, India bites Whip's lower lip and draws blood. Whip is surprised, but also excited. He thinks India is wild and that he's about to have a crazy encounter in the woods. However, India begins to resent him and pushes him away. Whip refuses and starts to force himself on her. She screams as he begins to take off his pants, unaware that Charlie is silently approaching from behind. Charlie pins him from behind with a belt and throws him to the ground. He ties Whip's legs using the same belt he used to strangle Aunt Jin. India then begins to kick Whip mercilessly, while Charlie watches with pride. The scene cuts to Charlie and India calmly driving home. Once home, India strips and gets into the shower. While showering, she begins to touch herself for the first time. As she does this, she remembers what really happened in the woods. We see that when Whip forced her to the ground, Charlie put Richard's belt around his neck and pulled until Whip's neck snapped, killing him as he lay on top of India. She remembers enjoying the moment Whip was being strangled and continues to pleasure herself while sobbing, overwhelmed by conflicting emotions. Finally, as she relives the moment Whip's neck breaks, India reaches climax in the shower, consumed by both euphoria and despair. Later, we see Charlie burying Whip's body under the giant rocks in the garden. As he digs, India realizes the rocks are there for a reason. She dials Aunt Jin's number and hears her ringtone coming from beneath the earth. Her suspicions are confirmed. Charlie not only killed Mrs. McGarrick and Whip, but also murdered Aunt Jin. Charlie then confesses everything to India. He reveals that as a child, he murdered his younger brother Jonathan by burying him in a deep sand pit in their backyard. As a result, Charlie was sent to a juvenile asylum for 20 years. All the letters India received, supposedly from different parts of the world, were actually written from the asylum. Somehow, Charlie always knew India was just like him. On India's 18th birthday, Charlie completed his sentence and was released. Richard had gone to the asylum to bring Charlie home and introduce him to Evelyn and India as a birthday surprise. But Richard never returned. Charlie murdered him that same day and returned home in his place. His true plan was to take Richard's place and be with India, with whom he had been obsessed for years. One night, Evelyn finally breaks down and lashes out at India, revealing years of regret and emotional pain. She admits she barely knows India and now fears there is something sinister in her daughter and that Charlie may have brought it to light. Later that night, Evelyn invites Charlie to her room to confront him. Before going up, Charlie tells India to pack a small bag and be ready to leave soon. India isn't sure what is going to happen, so she waits. Evelyn fears Charlie plans to kill India. She confronts him, saying she knows the truth, that he murdered Richard and Aunt Jin. Charlie begins to walk menacingly. Evelyn begs him to kill her and spare India. What Evelyn doesn't know is how close India and Charlie have become. She is confused when Charlie starts talking about living in the house with India. She thought Charlie was attracted to her, but she now realizes his obsession is with India. Charlie, attempting to disarm her, begins to kiss Evelyn and throws her onto the bed. India, meanwhile, is packing, but not a suitcase. She grabs her hunting rifle. Upstairs, Charlie throws Evelyn to the floor and shouts for India to come and watch. He takes off his belt and begins to strangle Evelyn, just as he did with Whip. Evelyn's face turns red as she gasps and struggles for breath. India walks into the room not with a suitcase, but with her gun. Without hesitation, she aims and fires a perfect shot into Charlie's forehead. Evelyn collapses on the floor, still alive, but shell-shocked. India leans over Charlie's body to check his pulse. When she stands up, half of her face is covered in his blood. Evelyn is speechless. In the morning, Charlie's body has been buried under the rocks alongside the others. While Evelyn sleeps, India gets dressed, packs her bags, and prepares to leave for a new life in New York. She also places a pair of pruning shears in her car. As she drives away, the town sheriff pulls her over for speeding. This mirrors the opening scene of the movie. As the sheriff approaches her car, India stabs him in the neck with the pruning shears. He crawls toward the nearby field, bleeding profusely. We now see that the white and red flowers from the beginning were not actually red by nature. The red was the sheriff's blood, staining the petals. India, now wearing her father's belt, drives away toward New York to live life on her own terms. This is where the movie ends.